Hello everyone. If you are into implant dentistry, you know that mastering bone augmentation is what separates a novice dentist from a good one. But where do you start? Which books to refer for? Which book actually gives you a clear surgical understanding of the bone augmentation in implant dentistry instead of only a theoretical one? Welcome to the YouTube channel of Regeneration Hub Pune. Here in this video, I share a glimpse of 7 must-read books on bone augmentation in implant dentistry. Whether you are a postgraduate student, a young practitioner, or an experienced clinician, these books will definitely help you improvise your clinical and surgical skills in bone augmentation in implant dentistry to the next level. So, let's start. Okay, let's start with Michael Pikos's book, Bone Augmentation in Implant Dentistry. It addresses multiple components like what are the instruments that you need for augmentation, data about different grafts and membranes and growth factors, how to do the extraction site management, including a traumatic extraction, socket grafting in anterior as well as posterior sites, how to use the dentin graft, and socket shield technique. Also, the major focus is on ridge augmentation, how to plan the design of the incision. What about the bone harvesting from symphysis as well as ramus? Horizontal and vertical augmentation in maxilla and mandible. How to do the ridge split, utilize the titanium mesh, as well as the complications in ridge augmentation. Also, another highlight is addressing the sinus lift, how to do the clinical and radiographic assessment, both crestal as well as direct sinus lift, single and multiple teeth with sinus lifts, and complications. So it's a good book and a lot of theories discussed with varied case scenarios. The second one is 30 Years of Guided Bone Regeneration by Daniel Boozer. Here, the first thing the author discusses is development of bone, and later on, the famous GBR principles and biomaterials are discussed, followed by discussions on autografts, what is the function and composition of it, and specific mention of bone condition medium. Later on, post-extraction changes, including socket grafting as well as immediate implants, are addressed, and implant placement in various scenarios like healed site and immediate, and what is the effect of variety of defect morphology on it. What should be the staging, when to do immediate, early, or late implant placement. Also, with immediate implant along with internal grafting and temporization is shown. Early implant with the famous contour augmentation is discussed. Also, GBR for peri-implantitis is discussed, and in the end, complications of GBR is discussed. So overall, a fantastic book for guided bone regeneration. Next, we have 2 books by Len Tolstunov. The first one is on horizontal alveolar ridge augmentation in implant dentistry, and the second one is on vertical augmentation. The horizontal augmentation book discusses radiographic evaluation of the site, focusing on particulate bone grafting, implant site development, and horizontal augmentation using titanium mesh plus particulate graft. Different complications of the grafting are discussed. How to harvest the block bone graft, and different alternatives like block allograft as well as tuberosity graft is discussed. And some variations like ridge splitting, 1-stage as well as 2-stage ridge splitting is discussed. Various expansion techniques are discussed like osteotomy, split crest as well as split control. And in the end, distraction osteogenesis is also discussed. Another book by the same author is Vertical Alveolar Ridge Augmentation in Implant Dentistry. In this, similar to the first one, vertical augmentation using titanium mesh is discussed, followed by different techniques like pedicle sandwich plasty with particulate inlay graft, using piezo surgery, sandwich osteotomy along with allograft, and vertical augmentations like sinus lift, both crestal sinus lift where osteotome and hydraulic techniques are discussed, as well as direct sinus lift is discussed. And later on, distraction osteogenesis, how to utilize the block bone graft for the vertical augmentation, as well as soft tissue grafting required for these augmentations is discussed. Next, we have bone and soft tissue augmentation in implantology by Fouad, Khoury, where the main focus is on autograft. If you're looking for a book on autograft, this is the one. Here, the first focus is on properties of autograft, diagnosis and planning of these cases. Special focus is on soft tissue grafting, whether before, during the implant, and after the implant placement is done. And finally, the crux of the book is on mandibular block bone graft, whether to harvest and when to harvest from ramus, symphysis, and extraction sites. The author focuses on techniques using specific armamentarium, like using micro saws, micro discs, to obtain these shells from the mandibular ramus areas. And in the end, split bone block techniques and how to fix them using the fixation screws on both buccal as well as palatal or lingual aspects is discussed. And in the end, complications of all these augmentation procedures is discussed. The last two books are by Istvan. The first book is Vertical and Horizontal Bridge Augmentation, New Perspectives. In this, the author discusses surgical setup and patient preparation, intraoral bone harvesting. Special focus is on surgical anatomy of all the areas, especially the floor of mouth, advancement techniques of different buccal as well as lingual flaps, then the famous sausage and mini sausage techniques, and site-specific augmentations in case of mandible as well as maxilla, anterior areas and posterior areas. It's a fantastic book to begin. The author has also come up recently with Vertical to the Next Level, where the focus is majorly on vertical augmentation. Here, he discusses the PTFE membranes and mesh, then how to do the vertical augmentation in cases like posterior mandible with scar tissue and narrow vessel bone. In anterior mandible, anatomy is again discussed along with soft tissue reconstruction. In case of posterior maxilla, different complications of sinus lift like hemorrhage, septa, graft infection is discussed. And a lot of soft tissue reconstruction techniques are discussed, whether labial strip graft or major connective tissue graft, how to utilize the free gingival graft in double strip technique, and many more. Each of these books offer a different angle, but taken together, they'll completely transform the way you understand and execute bone augmentation around dental implants. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with your colleagues who are passionate about augmentation and implant dentistry. At Regeneration Hub Pune, we conduct variety of surgical workshops like hard and soft tissue augmentation around implants, root coverage workshop, exclusive connective tissue augmentation workshop, immediate dental implant workshops. All of these workshops have theory and different hands-on practices on variety of models, including animal jaws. The techniques that we saw in multiple books in this particular video are actually taught as well as practiced on variety of models, including animal jaws, to give you that surgical confidence and boost for the augmentation techniques. So if you are interested in any of these upcoming workshops, do contact us. The numbers are shared. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.